Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check, 1 2. How am I coming in on the stream? Hey everybody, welcome to this Saturday stream. Super excited for what got going on today. Gonna be painting some Dark Angels Deathwing today. Got our custom true scale Belial, and we're gonna be working on him today. So I've got him ready to go right here. His super cool sword and little custom storm bolter that I built out of some bits. So he is ready for paint, already been primed up. And we've also got a super awesome Deathwing banner that's going to get mounted on top of his armor right there. We'll be painting these next few streams. This guy is going to be the centerpiece of the army that we'll take into Adepticon. So we're going to be doing some tutorials on how to do some cool Deathwing armor and all that fun stuff. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun painting this guy. Can't wait. A couple of other little things. Starting today and from now on, I'm going to be saving the tutorial-oriented streams over on the Jackal Club's YouTube channel, which is up and running. So you can head over there, post a link in the chat for you guys. So if you follow that link there, that's the Jack Club's YouTube channel. I know it's pretty bare bones right now, but it's just gonna grow from there. And a little earlier, I went ahead and uploaded the finished Dark Angels How to Paint tutorial. The tournament quality Dark Angels How to Paint video is up. I'm not sure if it's 100% in HD or whatever. You know, like YouTube has those weird, like, it'll upload, but it still has like processing to do after the fact. So if it's not like fully HD or there's problems with the video, just give it a little while and it should be ready to go later this evening, and go ahead and watch that. And this is kind of a side project to that, like it's an accompaniment to that, since we're doing Deathwing. So we've, on the video, studio video, we've got like how to paint like Codex Dark Angels with a Primaris Lieutenant model. This guy right here. You've seen before on streams. This guy right here is the focus of the How to Paint Dark Angels video. And then we've got our Deathwing guy right here, who's going to be the focus of our How to Paint Deathwing streams. Yeah, I think there's only like 1 or 2 people that it's up so far. I mean, it's brand new. But yeah, so like that's going to be part of the lineup from now on. Is we're going to have the live tutorials, then we're going to have some studio tutorials up there, and I'll start archiving our more tutorial oriented live streams over on the YouTube, so they don't get deleted by Twitch, because like it only saves like a certain number of them, and then once a certain amount of time passes, it deletes those. So I'm trying to keep start porting those over to the YouTube where they'll stay in perpetuity, so that we can reference those later on. Because I know a lot of times they'll be like, oh, we already did this one thing on this stream, you know, a couple weeks ago, and that stream may or may not still be here on Twitch. So that's why I'm gonna start doing that. Before we really get into Belial, I wanted to show the Mordian that we started working on last time, because I went ahead and finished him up, you know, test model, wanted to get him done. So here is our Mordian, and he's ready for the tabletop. You know, nothing too fancy, just it's like I'm gonna have to be painting a bunch of these guys. So, you know, this is the uniforms that we're going with. You know, nice black tunic there with some tire black and some mixtures of tire black to get it lighter. You know, highlight that black tunic. We've got the blue pants with the yellow epaulets and stripes with some red trim, and of course the super clean white gloves and hat. Just a little bit of a army painter grass on the base. Yeah, so he's ready for the tabletop. Really like how this color scheme came out. It's gonna look really cool on the table. So I just wanted to show you guys the finished product of what we were working on last time. So I don't know if I'll be painting a lot of those guys on stream or not. It depends on kind of like, you know, what's going on during the week, but I'll be painting a lot of those guys in the near future. Other than that, not a whole lot new going on. Still working on the Ultramarines commission. It's going slow and steady. That should be done probably by the end of next week. I'll have it finished off. We can kind of show some of those models. I am saving the Gravis captain. So all that's been done to him is the you know, the armor. I haven't done any of the other steps that I've been doing on the commission with this guy. So I think I'm just gonna save this guy for kind of like a stream project, so that we can do all the fun stuff on him. So he'll be like the last model to get done. I'll like finish everybody else, and then I'll do him kind of standalone since he's gonna be, you know, the leader of the army. All right, so let's get into working on this Belial. So this is a quite a big Terminator. Let's see if I'll grab Typhus over here. Let's see if I can get their feet kind of on the same. So you can see he's a big boy. He's a little bit taller than Typhus. True scale Space Marine Terminator hero. You know, not so big as to be ridiculous, but quite a bit bigger than a normal Terminator. And I only have 2 of these guys, so I didn't want to do a whole army out of them, because the guy who makes them only has 2 Dark Angels models. So he's got this guy, and then he's got another one which I have right here that comes with a Thunder Hammer. And since those are going to be like the 2 big like showpieces of the army, I think that's all I need, and everybody else is just going to be normal Deathwing Knight minis. So we're going to be working on this guy. The Stormbolter is just made from all sorts of different stuff. So it's a Dark Angel Stormbolter from the Deathwing box set. Did a lot of work on this. You know, I got out the hobby saw, went full hobby, 100 miles an hour on it. So took off the magazine well, put it on the side, and we've got a bunch of other kind of bits from all sorts of different things, just a bunch of little tiny stuff to kind of make it look like a really cool wrist-mounted Stormbolter instead of a hand-mounted one. Just to cover up the big flat surface that he had on the top of his wrist, because this model comes with a shield, like a Dark Angel Storm Shield. And since Belial, when he has the Sword of Silence, he doesn't have a Storm Shield. It's either Thunder Hammer and Storm Shield, Twin Lightning Claws, or the Sword of Silence and a Stormbolter. I wanted to figure out a way to get a Stormbolter on there and kind of nix that shield. Whereas this other guy, I will be using the shield on him because he's a Deathwing Ancient with Thunder Hammer and Storm Shield. So that's what he's going to be. So the shield will be part of it. And you can kind of see, like right there's that big like kind of flat surface. That's kind of what I was trying to cover up on Belial here. Alright, so first things first, we've already primed in black, which is usually where we start off at. But for this guy, since he's going to be a really bright, vibrant kind of bone color, we're going to do a little bit of appreciate on him just to kind of help that those lighter colors stick a little bit, because covering up pure black paint with those bone colors isn't always the easiest thing to do, even with an airbrush. So we're going to be doing a little bit of appreciate with our Sonora's white primer. And then we're going to go into the Deathwing armor colors. Alright, so let's get this guy. He's really big, so I'll try to keep him in frame as best I can. And we'll start doing appreciated. So we're just going to be using our kind of top-down method, airbrushing. Just letting the white paint hit all of those little details and surfaces that would normally catch light from an overhead perspective. Nothing too crazy, not going like pure white or anything. Gonna come on down to a little bit of a 45 here, dust it a little bit more. Okay, that's really all you need right there. You can start seeing those details really start to pop out. Go ahead and get our banner. So our banner is going to be really rich with color, a lot of bright colors in this thing. There we go. Let's get a little bit of a highlight right there in the center, brighten that up. Kind of like that. Just appreciate on our banner there. Clean this color out because we're going to a light brown to start this off. The way I've been doing a lot of bone colored stuff is using some army painter paints, like what you've seen me do with the Death Guard. But I want to do something a little different on these guys, just like for a little bit different tone, and you know, just like different kind of tutorial. So on this guy we'll be using a lot of Vallejo colors for our armor workup. We're going to start at the same place though, because I really like doing my bones this way. We're going to start off with Beastie Brown. Kalini, what's up? So we're going to be starting at the same spot that we did on the Death Guard, but from this point onward it's going to differ a little bit. So we're going to come in with our Beastie Brown. And just like on the Death Guard, we're going to start at the bottom, at a bottom angle, and start getting this Beastie Brown in there, catching the underside of everything, getting into all the nooks and crannies of the model. So we kind of want all of our shadows, instead of black, we want our shadows to be Beastie Brown. So if you have to alter your angle just a little bit, don't worry about it. Just want to make sure that if there's any kind of place where shadows would naturally be, that we want to try to get those to be our Beastie Brown. Even if it's an odd angle right now, as we work through it, it'll work itself out. Okay, so that should be good for our Beastie Brown. You can see if we kind of turn him upside down, that Beastie Brown is really powerful, but then if we look at him from the top, there's not a whole lot of it left over. It's kind of what we're going for here. Oh man, that's dope. Make your own gaming table. It's awesome. And for this tutorial, I'm not using Flow Improver just yet, just because I'm working with like one miniature only, and these Vallejo Game Air colors are pretty thin airbrush paints, so I can just drop paint right into the airbrush and start spraying. You still want to check and see like what this, like if it's gonna spray smooth or if there's any kind of speckling or anything. And if there is, you can always add a little bit of Flow Improver, but for the purposes of this, since I'm only doing one mini at a time, I'm trying to like save down on Flow Improver so I'm not wasting so much paint. But if you're doing like a whole squad or 2 squads or a whole Deathwing army, and you start off with this step, you want to make sure that when you start spraying with your Beastie Brown, that you have some Flow Improver in there to keep it spraying longer. Just gonna back the video out just a little bit to make it easier to keep this dude in frame. Yeah, that's easier. There we go. All right, so for our second color, which is going to be like the base of our bone. Oh yeah, it's definitely better than that Pixelba. All right. We're gonna go with Vallejo Game Air Bone White. And if we look at it on our palette over here, you can see that's bone white. That's that color. So it's not actually a white. It's just kind of a really light bone color. It's got some khaki to it, which is kind of what we want. So we're going to use this as the base for our bone. And just like the Beastie Brown, we're going to like put that directly into the airbrush. See how it sprays. Just wanted to fight it a little bit, so I'm going to add some Flow Improver. I don't know, man. Somebody else was saying something like that. Like maybe you're like not actually. Well, no, you have to be logged in to chat. I don't know. We check the support page. All right, it's pretty much better now. All right, okay, and so this is where we're gonna bring back our high 45 kind of spray angle. We're gonna start. Just spraying our bone white over this whole model. Just maintaining this 45-degree angle in here. You don't want to get anywhere like underneath the model if you can help it. Okay. Gonna give this guy a once over. Let's check him out a little bit. I want to make sure there's still none of that primer pre-shade peeking through. I'm gonna get it all covered up by our bone white. Okay, looking pretty darn good. I like where that's at. Nice bone white color. Oh, doing some shade spire. That's pretty cool. I'm waiting for the skeletons to come out. I'll be waiting for those skeletons to come out for a while. It seems. I don't know why you would put all that advertising into showing like all the factions and then have like no release date for 2 of them. That's a little frustrating. Oh, you getting some of those? That's cool, man. Yeah, I like them. Tigger, what we're talking about is this little model here. This little like plastic model kit. It's made by Ming, M-E-N-G. They have a little series of model kits called World War Toons, which is these kind of non-scale, super deformed tanks from World War II. So this is the KV-2 for Russia. There's the Sherman tank, the Panzer, and then the Panzer II. They're these kind of like easy snap fit model kits. And it turns out the chassis are just about the same size as what you would need for 40K. So the super old school Ragnarok tank for the Imperial Guard was based off the KV-2. So I found this KV-2 model. I'm like, man, that would make a cool alternative Imperial Guard tank. So I picked one up. They're like 15 bucks a piece, so they're super cheap. So I'll have some of those for my Mordians. Oh, Skeletons pre-run 28th. Ah, okay, not too much longer to wait then. Alright, and so for our targeted highlight, we're going to go with Model Color Ivory, which is a really bright, vibrant paint. So we're going to come in with this, and we're going to start targeting some of the parts that would be the brightest. And for this, we are going to use Flow Improver because this is not an airbrush-ready paint. Flow Improver. Some water in the brush here. Mix this up nice and good. I talked a little bit about this before because some people like to ask me, like, how do you know when your airbrush paint's ready? So if we can see in the cup here, like as you're mixing this up, right, with your Flow Improver and water, if you can scrape the side of the hopper with your brush and it just flows straight down like that, then it's good to spray. More often than not, it's a pretty good metric to figure out if your paint's ready. Alright, cool. Alright, so like I said, we're going to come in and start targeting some areas with this ivory and really brighten them up. Okay, let's get our ivory on there. It's starting to get a lot brighter. There. Pisa, how do I clean my airbrush so fast? Well, I'm not exactly like cleaning it out perfectly. So that's part of it. I'm leaving a little bit of the color residue in there. And I also have this this cool squirt bottle that I use to like swirl the water in there, and then I just pour it out on a little like a towel, like a shitty towel on this bench right next to me. So you can see, like, I mean, it's not like fully clean, but if you're going through colors in a similar color, like that is not going to really taint your colors at all. It'll actually help them kind of tie together better. But I've got this like tattoo bottle filled with water, and I don't know if I'll be able to get this on stream or not. You can see I kind of put it on the side, and then I create this little like swirl effect with the little nozzle, and that kind of helps the paint get knocked off the sides and out of there, and then I just pour that out and kind of spray it. Wipe it with a paper towel if I need to. Got that tattoo bottle on Amazon for like $3. It was a lifesaver. Alright. We're just gonna make this like just a teensy bit brighter before it's ready to wash. Because I want kind of with the Death Guard, their bone colored armor is more like kind of aged and dirty. And with the Deathwing, the Dark Angels, I want theirs to be a little bit cleaner. Like I want that nice bone color showing through. Which is going to happen when we wash it, but at the same time, I want it to be more vibrant and clean. So one little like just last minute step that we're going to do is I'm going to put some of our Sonorous primer back in the airbrush with some flow improvers to help it not speckle. And we're just going to like do one more like targeted highlight on some places to a pure white, just so they get like really bright and vibrant. So kind of like front of this breastplate right here, kind of the peak of that little thing. Get some on that shoulder pad. Some of these places we've already hit with the ivory, just a little bit more. I'm gonna get with the pure white, just so that when we put our wash on there, it's gonna look really nice. All right. Alright, cool. It's just like a little bit. I know it's kind of hard to see it with the super bright lights because white just loves to reflect. But let me clean out the airbrush a little bit because we're going to be going to a different color entirely for our banner here. Oh, no worries, Pisa. Throw some shade on there. So you can start kind of seeing a little bit of that transfer. I mean, like, it's a really bright bone white ivory. Alright, so let's move on to our banner. Let's get some airbrush on our banner. I think our banner is going to be red. I'm going to do the hood and the cape and, like, the little kind of, like, toga looking thing that he's got on. I'm going to do those, like, start off with a really dark green for, like, the really nice like bone and then dark green colors, and then for the banner we're gonna base it out in a really vibrant red. So for that we're gonna start off with a darker red. I gotta find it though. Dark red. Our dark red right here from Model Color. Put this in the airbrush. Don't need a whole lot. This basic model color is really highly pigmented, so you don't need to don't need a whole lot of paint, because even when you thin it out, it's gonna have a shit ton of pigment in it. Mix this up in the airbrush real quick. Alright, let's start basing this out. Going on really thin, just kind of trying to get everywhere, because I do want some of our pre-shade to show through. Okay. Go. Alright, rinse that out a little bit, and then we're going to go to our Vallejo Flat Red, which is really vibrant. I'm going to highlight this up a little bit. Love Minis, what's up? Alright, let's highlight up this darker red with our more vibrant one. And for this one, I am going to be spraying at kind of an angle so that we can have some of that dark red in our shadows. Alright, cool. Set that aside. He's gonna get all nice and shiny. So the gloss varnish helps the wash not want to stick anywhere other than in the details. Since we want a super clean wash on this guy, it's going to help quite a bit. But while it's drying, you need to clean the airbrush out really nice because you do not want that varnish drying inside of your airbrush. Yeah, I was kind of looking at it because like let's see how long ago was I don't know, I was in a shop somewhere and I saw one of their rule books, like the core rule book, and it had a lot of the pictures and the profiles for the units and stuff, and I was like, oh man, that's kind of cool. Because like normal bolt action doesn't really do it for me. You know, just like the standard World War II wargaming stuff. Like, I've seen people play the game. Like, I was watching some people play Bolt Action at Adepticon last year, and it seemed like a really fun game. Like, the rules were really good. And the models were solid. You know, it just looked like a fun game. They had some cool tables they had made specifically for the event, so that kind of got to me a little bit. Like I like stuff like that. The when people make like gaming tables that actually have like built up like terrain and flocking and dirt and trees and all that kind of stuff, rather than just kind of like scattering pieces of pre-made terrain on a table. Like those always look so much cooler to me. So seeing those guys play bolt action, I was like, oh man, this is cool. But you know, it's just World War II historical gaming. So that in that sense, it didn't really do anything for me. But I was looking at the Conflict 47 stuff, and I was like, you know, this I could get into because it's got that kind of wacky sci-fi element to it, and that stuff I liked. I saw one of the U.S. Kind of like tank mech looking things. I think it was called like a grizzly bear, and that thing looked really cool. I was like, ooh, I could definitely get into painting one of those because you know how I love my mechs. Oh, really? Like the community is like all about having like historically accurate uniforms and stuff. I mean like I can see that though, like because that's part of it, right? Because if you're playing like if you're playing like U.S. Marine Corps circa 1944, it's a lot different than U.S. Marine Corps circa 1941. Like there's a lot of changes and stuff during the war, so. And I think that's actually part of the rule set. Like depending on what era you're playing in, like depends on what kind of rules your army has. So I could definitely see that. Okay, I'm gonna start mixing up this wash. We're using the Army Painter wash system. Got our little wash tray right here. So we're gonna start off with soft tone. We drop it in our soft tone. doesn't really work out all that great. Okay. Got our wash on the cloth here. Just gonna try to come and soak some of this up. Trick you can do sometimes if you're trying to do a cape or a cloth like this, you don't want the wash to pool at the very bottom because it's not realistic. You can actually turn it upside down, kind of like this, and let it dry that way. So that you don't get wash in this area, because you don't want it pooling down in this area, especially for like capes and stuff. It does not look realistic. Sometimes you can kind of like waggle it around and get it to kind of set up where you want. But I think we're good. I don't think it's gonna... I don't think there's enough wash on there to actually pool on these surfaces right here. Set that aside. Some talent. Alright, so we don't waste this, I'm going to try to get as much of this back in our soft tone bottle as we can. There we go. Let's see. Oh, well, I'm an idiot. I have the friggin' Dark Angel box right here. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is supposed to be like a steel metallic. Okay. Green wings on the chest, red wing on the shoulder. Okay, cool. Alright, wash set up real quick. Banner, why you do this to me? Oh no. I don't know. Something happened here on the banner. I'm not sure. I think it might be the gloss coat. It wanted to kind of see all that in there. That's like it's like the gloss coat like bubbling up. I don't know why it's doing that. It's never happened when I've done this before. So I think I'm gonna have to scrap this banner and use a different one. Luckily there's another one. I have 2 boxes of Deathwing Knights, so I have another one that I could do. But I don't know why I was doing that. I guess next time I just won't even gloss coat it. Set that off to the side because that's going in. That's gonna have to get stripped later. Cause it's not doing it on his armor, and I don't. That's weird. I don't know why I decided to do it on the banner only. Cause his armor is fine. Paint's still like perfectly smooth. Waiting on that to dry. Let's talk about some stuff. So, if you weren't here at the beginning of the stream, I was talking about some of the other stuff besides the Twitch channel. So I've got a link here. There's a link for you. That is to the Jacka Club's YouTube channel, brand new YouTube channel. So it's really bare bones right now, but it's going to be growing in the future. Just uploaded the studio tutorial, the first studio tutorial for the Jacka Club's painting channel for how to paint Dark Angels. So on stream we're doing Deathwing, so we've got our Deathwing guy, but on the video we've got this guy. So this is the mini from the video, our Codex Dark Angels Green Primaris Lieutenant of the 4th Company, and this is how to paint this. The Codex Dark Angels to a really nice tournament standard is what the video is on. It's a little long. Well, it's not a little long. It's crazy long. It's a lot longer than I was wanting it to be, but you know, it's the first video, so there's definitely some growing pains there, but overall, pretty solid video. It just got that uploaded today, so that's start to finish from bare plastic to that right there is what the video goes over. And starting today after the stream, all of the tutorial centered streams that we do are going to be uploaded to that channel as well, so they can stay there for reference, because Twitch archives your streams, but it only archives them for a certain amount of time and then it deletes them. So to keep that from happening, I'm going to take our live streams where I do painting tutorial stuff like this, and I'm going to put those up on that channel so that people can reference them later. So I'm pretty sure the video is working good now. Check it real quick, because it has this weird thing where it likes to process. Alright, so it looks like video is full 1080p all the way through. Awesome. Cool. Alright, so that's up there. Y'all can check that out. The next one, we're going to probably do another Space Marine chapter, or I might do Mordians or something. I haven't really decided yet, but the next one's, it's going to be a lot shorter. I've figured out some ways to make the process go a lot faster and smoother, and have the videos condensed down quite a bit more, because like that video is almost an hour long, and even then I cut out just about as much as I could, because I had like 3.5 hours of footage. So next time what I'll be doing is I'll be shooting in smaller snippets. So for example, like if we were doing this guy, like I would just shoot like, this is how you mix the wash, this is me putting on the wash, alright, cut on to the next shot. So that way I don't have so much footage to sift through like I did this time. But that's done. It's up. It's got the narration and everything, so you can go check that out and see what that's all about. See, still waiting for this to dry a little bit. We finished our Mordian. So if you were here last time, we started work on this Mordian for a test model, because I'll be doing a small Mordian army, and I finished him yesterday. So here he is, ready for the tabletop. Super clean Mordian guard. Some nice flocking on the base. This is Army Painter flocking. What is this called? From their Battlefields XP line. Some of this stuff, some Highlands Tufts for the space. So we've got tire black for the tunic, highlighted up with some mixtures of tire black and gray to brighten it up. We've got our blue pants, base of Prussian blue, working up through the colors there. Got the red trim, that's just a model color with some Army Painter reds to brighten it up. Our yellow is yellow ochre and some thinned out Vallejo sun yellow, and then we've got our white gloves and hats, and that's just the process of working up through the grayscale. So Celestia gray to Ulthwyn gray to Starship exterior to pure white, just for some final highlights there for Really nice clean white. Scale metals. You know how I like my scale metals, so all the metallics are scale 75. So yeah, liking how that came out. A nice clean Mordian guy there. That's how I'll be doing mine. So yeah, still drying, taking a little bit. Let him sit for a second. So thinking what I might do is actually, so I might do this part green, and then I'll do the cape in black. Because the Deathwing commander has a black cape, and the Deathwing knights have the green toga thing. Yeah, even the Deathwing knight commander has a green tunic and a black cape. So I'll do a black cape for Belial here. ones are just so shitty. And trying to airbrush white is always kind of a hassle because white just wants to speckle like super bad no matter what. And the Center Rose White Primer is actually really good about not speckling so much. So that's the main reason I use it. Tico, man, I don't. It's really hard for me to diagnose stuff like that because like airbrushing is such a hands-on thing that like I wish I could just tell you how to fix that, but unless I know what it's doing, like if I can see it, I can't really help you there. Let's see if I can kind of help this out a little bit with the air gun. Let's help this wash dry a little bit faster. So there's some parts that are still kind of wet. I don't want them to be wet when I matte coat this guy. Especially on this left arm here, it's just, there's a couple of places where it just does not want to get dry. Yeah, okay, so if it's way back there, you might be getting some like dried, like kind of like goopy paint stuff coming out of your paint and like getting all up in there. So what I suggest you do is go like disassemble your brush as much as you can and then like kind of soak it in your paint cleaner, like your solvent stuff, overnight, and then try to come in the next day and use some of those kind of like pipe cleaner brushes that you got and just try to like knock all that shit out of there. Because I've had that problem too, especially with bottles like this, where sometimes if they've been on the shelf for a really long time, they'll get this like kind of gunk in the bottom, and then when you shake it up, all that gunk kind of gets like mixed up in there, and if you squeeze it out into the airbrush, that little like goopy shit can like really gum up the airbrush. It's not good. There was a time when I first started airbrushing where I bought like a shit ton of Vallejo paints from a local store off the shelf, and that experience made me pretty much never want to use Vallejo paints again for a long time. Because for whatever reason, these little dropper bottles that don't have agitators in them, if they sit on a shelf for a really long time, then that can kind of happen. You can get that kind of separation into that goopy dried stuff, and it's just a pain in the ass to deal with. That's why I always recommend like I always am a proponent of like supporting where you play, like pay where you play, to like the local stores and stuff. But sometimes you just have to make a concession because I always recommend don't buy Vallejo or Army Paint or any of these like dropper bottle style paints. Like don't buy any of those off the shelf because more often than not, those have been sitting there for a really long time and just a lot of those dropper bottles just kind of go to shit. I always say buy direct. Like when it comes to Army Painter and Vallejo, especially, I always buy direct. Citadel doesn't really have that problem because it's in pots like this, and you kind of have to get it out with your brush. So if there's like little dried like paint goopy shit in there, then you'll know because you're like picking it up with your brush. Um, But with these, when you're just like kind of tipping the bottle over and dropping stuff into the airbrush, sometimes that stuff will get in there and you won't even see it. And that just causes tons of headaches. Darth Marix, thanks for that follow. Appreciate you. Haven't seen you around before. Welcome to the stream. Right. I think this is dried up enough so we can go ahead and matte coat him back and get ready for a dry brush. See, like I just pulled that off of the tip of this matte varnish. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, where you want to make sure that that doesn't get dropped into your airbrush. Oh, cool. Yeah, Necrons are fun. Man, it's good to have you here. Creatives, the creative side of Twitch is like really great. It's an awesome community. Nothing like the video game side of Twitch. All right, so we're gonna get our Vallejo matte coat. We're gonna start getting a layer of this on there. And it's gonna matte our colors back down, so we won't have that ugly gloss shine. And the other reason is paint does not like sticking to gloss varnish. So since we're going to be doing a whole lot more painting on this guy, I want to make sure that he gets matted back first so that our paint has something solid to stick to. And make sure to get out your heavy duty cleaner and clean that varnish out of your airbrush, because that shit, speaking of headaches, you do not want clear coat varnish drying in your airbrush. Do not mess around with this. It's where this solvent-based paint thinner stuff comes in real handy, because it just eats it out of the airbrush. Dissolves it so you don't have any dried particles in there. Whereas water will just kind of not do a very good job. With your normal water-based paints, if you switch the water in there while it's still wet, it can knock it off the sides of the airbrush cup. But the matte coat, the water just kind of like goes over it, like slides over it, because they don't mix. So having a solvent is great, because that solvent just like kind of eats it away and dissolves it, and you can just like wash that out. That's set up. Matte coat usually sets up quite a bit faster than the gloss coat. But we still want it set up because we're going to be doing some dry brushing, and we don't want the dry brush to pick up any of that varnish. So in our airbrush workup for the armor, we used some ivory as a highlight. And so we're going to get the model color ivory in our palette. We're going to dry brush this model in ivory, and it's going to brighten up the edges, clean it up a little bit. We're trying to go as light as possible, so I'm going to be really careful with this stuff. And if you're new, dry brushing refers to a technique, but also a style of brushes. So we have this like big brush like this. This is a dry brush. And what you want to do is get your paint on the palette and kind of get some on your brush, and then come over to a paper towel and get almost all of that paint off there, all the moisture paint off of there. So you're just basically left with dry pigment. And then we come over here and we start kind of very lightly sweeping the dry brush over the model, and this is just going to catch all of the raised details with that dry pigment and clean up a lot of the dirtiness of this wash. And just keep going back to your paint as needed, just a little bit at a time. It's always easier to add more. It's really hard to clean up or fix putting way too much paint on a model, so a little bit at a time. Okay. As you can see with that ivory on there now, our armor's a lot cleaner than it was with just the wash. Try to clean this dry brush out before it sets. Okay, and so from here, we can start blocking in some color. Open up one of these new brushes, because I need something a little bigger for some of this. Okay. Start off with a matte black. Okay. Let's sit up a little bit. Let's set up a little bit more. Oh hey, what's up, ugly? Oogly. Didn't see you come in. Want this green to get super dry before I put on another coat, because I just tried putting on some more and it was just wanted to push it around a little bit, so I'm just let it dry up a little bit. We'll get there. Let's see, where did I get the rubber stopper? These particular ones, I got at Lowe's. And they work pretty good. They work pretty darn good. I like them better than cork because the cork like degrades every time you use it. Whereas like every time you push a paper clip into the rubber, like it leaves a little tiny hole, right? But it doesn't like degrade, and you don't really have to glue it because it has some twist to it. Like it'll spin around if you really force it, but if you're just letting it sit, it's not gonna like twist on its own. Plumbing section. Oh, what section were they in? You know, I don't entirely remember if they were in the plumbing section or not. They were in some like drawer. I think it was in the aisle where you find a lot of like stuff to like hang stuff up on the wall, and it was in this like drawer full of a bunch of other stuff, and it was like labeled as hard to find. Um, and we were gonna paint his damn banner. Oh well, you know what? Maybe it's not the end of the world. Now that it's dried up, it seems like a lot of that bubbling has gone away. So I think we can use this. I think we'll be able to use this. Good deal. So he's like I made a hole up here for the pin, and so when we're done, we're gonna pin this this banner to the top of his Terminator armor, old school style. So you know what I can do real quick? Let's just get out this flat red from Vallejo and water it down, and we can kind of clean up this this banner. Oh man, that's really good. I was getting pretty pissed off because the way the clear coat was like bubbling up the way that it was. It's making it like we weren't going to be able to use this. There we go. Much, much better. Oh, yes, the armor workup. Sorry. So for this guy, black primer, a little bit of white pre-shade, then an undercoat of Beastie Brown from Vallejo Game Air, then a highlight coat of bone white from Game Air, and then some targeted highlights of ivory from Model Color, and then pure white. And then we use the Army Painter wash system on it to get this nice bone color. Yeah, like this is the one that I got mad at because it was like because I showed like it was bubbling up like all right back here, and a little bit on this side, and I guess now that it's dried off, that all went away, so it's nice and smooth again. I mean, like you can kind of still see some of that artifact there, but it's perfectly smooth. Like there's no texture to it when you put your finger on it. So as we put some more highlights on this thing, we won't even be able to tell. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise. I totally thought this thing was going to be wrecked, and it turned out okay, which is nice. The hard part's going to be painting in all this shit. Luckily, it's all embossed, so I don't have to freehand any of this shit. But I'm gonna have to be painting all of this stuff on this banner. But I mean, it's worth it because this guy's going to be the centerpiece. So having this like really cool painted banner is going to be great. Yeah, so I may have done what I told you not to do, which was put wash on it before that gloss varnish was fully set up. So I guess do as I say, not as I do. But luckily, I didn't like pick any of it up off of the model, so it wasn't the end of the world. what do I want to do next? So we can come in and do some blocking in of some other colors. So get out the matte black again, and we'll get all our joints and stuff. robe or whatever, but all the Deathwing guys have like metallic Crux Terminatus, so we can go ahead and just put a base coat of this scale 75 black metal on here. This blocked in. Really like using my scale 75 metallics. Great paints. But you know what I could do is, it seems like a lot of people are interested in these models, and I know that he did some Space Wolves, like Viking guys, and like a Black Templar, some other ones. So let me see if I can ferret it out again, and if I can find them, I'll pick some up for next month, and we could do some giveaways for some of these true scale Terminator heroes. From what I remember, some were better than others. Like he had like a Marnius Calgar looking dude, and something about it, I think it was like the ammo belts going to the heavy bolters. I was just like, that doesn't look very good. But I remember like the Viking ones, like the Space Wolves ones, were like the best ones. There we go. It's Crux Terminatus. That black metal there. What is this, Gavano Tom? Oh, that's cool. Does it say how big it actually is? 125 millimeters tall. Ooh. That would actually be quite a bit of fun to paint. I'll have to bookmark this. Epic True Scale. Oh, that's cool. Let's go ahead and base coat is Storm Bolter as well. Unlike our Dark Angels tutorial Primaris Lieutenant, I am going to do a Power Sword effect on this guy. So when I get to that point, I'll just base coat the blade in some matte black, and then we'll do some cool airbrushing on it. But for the bolter, I'm just going to go ahead and base coat this whole thing in black metal. And we can come back and do the bolter casing and stuff later. So we are getting a little short on time. We only got about 30 minutes left, so I want to try to get as much done on this guy today. If I can find the person, who does these, I'll see if I can contact them, and maybe they'll want to do some kind of some promotional stuff for the channel. If not, I can always just pick some up next month and have them for giveaways. I'm actually pretty proud of this Stormbolter conversion that I did on this guy, because the Stormbolter I did, because he like this model comes and he's supposed to be holding a shield in his hand, but Belial does not have a storm shield unless you give him a Thunderhammer, and the way that I want to play him is with the Sword of Silence and Stormbolter. So I had to flex some hobby muscles and make this wrist-mounted Stormbolter for him. So I use bits from all sorts of stuff to do this. I was doing this, and I didn't have any actual wrist-mounted Stormbolters, so I had to take like a Dark Angels Stormbolter from the Deathwing box set, because I'll be making Deathwing Knights and they don't have bolters. And I actually had to take the hobby saw and cut off the magazine well and then remount it to the side. So from the underneath to the side, and all I could do the whole time was think about that one video. I don't know if any of y'all have seen it. It's from a number of years ago, but it's like how to paint a Golden Demon winning model, but it's like a joke. And there's this one thing where he's like, well, the judges, they like conversions, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut off the left leg and swap it with the right leg and put the right leg where the left leg should be. So I was cutting off this magazine well, and that's all I could think of. Like, take the magazine well off the bottom, put it on the side. Wheezing Seal, what's up? I love Space Wolves' basing material. Ha. Yeah, nice base coat on that Stormbolter. Alright, so our hood is dry, so let's go ahead and wash that so that it matches the little toga. Trying to get a nice wash on there without touching any of our bone armor. Yeah, we got it there, good. Cool. So that should match our toga down here. Looking nice. I'm thinking, because this black cape has so much like negative space to it, I might try to find some cool like Dark Angels transfers and get like a big transfer on here for some like cape embroidery. Oh yeah. So you know what video I'm talking about. It was a lot of fun back in the day. How much time we got left? All right, I think I can come in and base coat some of these butter knives. Thanks for following. Some of these Dark Angel symbols. They're gonna be red, like these little knives and like these things over here. And get our black red from Vallejo. It's kind of a maroon color. That's what I would classify it as. But it's a great base for painting red. Sister Boston, thanks for following. Appreciate you. So many new faces today. Always love seeing new faces in the stream. I like seeing you returning guys too. Don't feel jealous. Man, this is difficult because I really want to put my finger on top of his hood to balance my hand. I just put a wash on and I can't touch it. I'm gonna make this sword in the middle of this gold just for some extra flair. But these wings I want red. Alright. Base coat on there. Whew. Alright, so Typhus. Typhus is a pretty big Terminator model. See if I can get their feet lined up on the same plane there. So you can see how big he is. Let me see here. Compared to Typhus there. Typhus is also kind of splayed-legged, so I mean, like, they might be similar height if his legs were straighter. As far as like the top of the Terminator armor goes. But he's definitely like a very imposing Terminator, like they should be, rather than the kind of like hunched over squat looking Terminators, which I'm not a huge fan of. Yeah. And like I've got this other one that's gonna be my this guy's gonna be my Deathwing Ancient. And he comes with a Thunder Hammer and shield. And the shield sculpt is really nice. It's got this like really nice angel sculpt on there. You know, he's got his hammer on his shoulder, and like the hammer sculpt is really cool too. It's got like a purity seal that's like wrapping around the haft of the hammer with the Deathwing feathers. Jeez. Hey, you're captain of your own fate, homie. All I can do is promote. How much time we got left? About 15 minutes? Alright, I think I could do some stuff with the golds. Let's pull out our scale 75 black gold. If I can find it. Yeah, I think it would be like right here since I use it so often. There it is. I almost never play at the local Games Workshop up here. Not for any like negative reason. It's just like the gaming group that I'm part of is in the south part of Austin, and I live in the north part of Austin. So I almost Kevin Adam, thanks for that host. I always like drive down there to go play, and I don't really ever buy models from them because they don't really sell models. But we have like a membership system, so like I help support the store, and they like are super good about letting us play there and keep stuff there and things like that. But like whenever I go up to the Games Workshop, like if I'm gonna buy anything from Games Workshop, I go up to that store because you know, I like to support the store, and the manager's a cool guy. And the times I have played there, I have played with Games Workshop models. And when I'm there, I try not to talk so much about the other types of stuff that I use. I mean, he doesn't care if I talk about like Shapeways, like emblems or anything like that, because that's not really detrimental to the store. Because most of the stuff that people want to get on Shapeways, like Games Workshop doesn't even sell, and they're just add-ons for like stuff that you would need to buy at Games Workshop anyways. But like for this Dark Angels army, if I'm gonna be using the Deathwing models with this guy, I probably just wouldn't play it at the Games Workshop. The stuff that I usually bring up there to play with is like my Ultramarine 1,000-point army, because that's all GW, or my Grey Knights, because that's all GW. Plus that store, the tables are like half tables, so the games that people play there are more suited to like 1,000-point games because the tables are just smaller. You know, like if I ever need any like Games Workshop product, that's where I go. I'll go up there and get some. Because as much as I'm like not the biggest fan of Games Workshop paints, like as an entire range, like they still have some stuff that like I'll never stop using just because I like how it works in there. Those products are actually really good. So every once in a while, I'll go up there and get some refills on some stuff. Get a model or two if I need it, or if like I want a new release, I'll go up there and get it. Like I bought my Mortarion stuff there. Oh, and the bases that I got for these guys are really cool. I found some really cool Cyborg miniatures bases on sale at Cool Mini or Not. If you haven't seen Cyborg's stuff, he makes really, really cool stuff. He's an amazing green stuff sculptor. And he makes really, really cool bases. Because one thing that I wanted for the Deathwing, because I mean, like, I'm only going to have like 12 models of Deathwing, right? So I didn't want like, I wanted to get resin bases, but I didn't want to get like flat resin bases. I wanted something a little bit more kind of like display worthy, like that had some elevation to them, you know. Kind of like these Elric bases, right? So like he's got some elevation to it with the Death Marsh and the lava bases, and I like that. But as far as stuff like this goes, like this is an Elric space, and you can see it's just like it's got terrain on it, but it's really flat. And I wanted to have some elevation for the Deathwing Knights to sit on, and Cyborg makes like really, really good bases for those, for something like that. And he had some Dark Angels themed ones that were like ruined temple with these like lion statue heads kind of in the rubble and stuff. They look really cool. So I got enough for my Deathwing, and Simon is pretty good about shipping most of the time. So like hopefully I'll have those bases in hand when we come back on Wednesday, so that I can paint one and put this guy on it. So we'll see, but they're really cool. Like my Marnius Calgar. Oh, he's in a case. So like my Marnius Calgar is on a Cyborg base that I got a long time ago. So is my Uriel of Interest, come to think of it. He's on one. Yeah, I think all the GW store up here has all their tables are 4x4. Yeah, Spec, that's why we don't really play 2K games there. It's more of a smaller kind of a thing. Oh, these are cool. I found some really cool proxies for Chaos Spawn that if somebody told me about from I think WizKids. They're like some D&D models. They come like pre-primered, and they're Dungeons and Dragons Displacer Beasts, which are like these six-legged cats with like gnashing tendril like tentacle things. And I got those for my roommate's Thousand Sons army because she likes cats, and I thought they would make really cool Chaos Spawn because the normal Chaos Spawn models are pretty ugly, which I guess is like their whole thing, right? Because they're Chaos Spawn, but they weren't cool enough. And those Displacer Beast models were like $3 a pop, like really cheap. I think I got one for like $1.99 on eBay. The other two I had to pay full price for, but I'm like, oh no, $3. Whatever will I do? Go. I'll save painting the sword until after we've done the airbrushing on it. But let's see how much time we have. I don't have enough time to go in and do the trim. That'll take too long. We can do that tomorrow. Making a lot of progress today, though. It's getting there. $2K, get the fuck. I don't know. Cause I mean, like, I think I have more fun in games when they have like a faster pace to them, and there's a lot of factions in 40K where you start playing at 2K and those games take for fucking ever. Like, you ever try to play a 2K game against orcs? Like, fuck. And then now with the resurgence of Imperial Guard Horde armies, like, it takes you like 30 minutes to fucking deploy. Like, it's ridiculous. So, I don't know. Like, I still like my 1K games just because I can go in, get like 2 games, sometimes 3 games in the space of like 1 2K game normally. Alright, let's clean up our brushes. Get a host ready to throw out. Having so much fun painting this guy. It's going to be a really cool model. What he's done. So tomorrow we can come in, block everything else out, start the highlighting, work on our banner a little bit. Probably will not finish him tomorrow, just because I'm gonna be putting a little bit more effort into this guy than some of my other game pieces. Just because he's gonna be the centerpiece of my Deathwing Knights. So I want to make sure that he's, looking his best, and it's going to be at Adepticon, so I can't be caught slipping at Adepticon. So this guy's going to be the stream project for the next few streams. I think maybe we'll be able to finish him on Wednesday. Get it done on Wednesday. That'll probably, if I'm thinking about how many hours it's going to be into it, that'll probably be about right. Clean up all the brushes. One thing I wish about this model, I really wish the head was separate. Because normally when I do Space Marine heroes that don't wear helmets, I really like to paint the head separately so I can airbrush a lot of it. But it's not the end of the world. I just have to, I'll just have to try. Usually I don't like painting faces by hand just because I'm lazy, but with this guy, he's got this really well sculpted face. And so we'll give him, we'll give him a really good face and give him some blonde hair, like the lion. Dark Angels like their blonde hair. And then I'm gonna see if I can find a transfer that'll fit right here because I got this big blank space. So I think I'll try to find a transfer that I can fit in there. And then we'll come in and we'll hand paint these little Dark Angel Grim Reaper things on his armor. So we got one on the wrist and one right here. Go in and hand paint those so we can come in and start doing some of the other little bits and bobs, like the purity seals and the feathers and stuff hanging down. Because he's got some purity seals back here. Which, this is how you should always do purity seals. The little tiny short ones are just an annoyance to me, but these are fun to paint. So we got a lot of work to do tomorrow. That'll be a lot of fun. And then we got our banner here, so we can come in and do some work on the banner tomorrow as well. Does Lowe's have MM-sized drill bits? I don't know. I bought this pin vise as a set on Amazon. I don't know the brand name. And it came with a bunch of different sizes, which I think I've lost. I don't know. But you could always go and ask, because sometimes they might have some Dremel-sized drill bits that are in the millimeter range. So I might want to go check. But I'm not a Lowe's encyclopedia. Alright, let's find somebody to host into. Okay, guys and gals, that was a lot of fun today. Got a lot of work done on our True Scale Belial dude. Having a super fun time painting this. We're going to be back tomorrow at our normal time, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time for our Sunday stream. We're going to be working on Belial again. I'll post the link for the YouTube channel again, one more time. The Jacket Club's painting YouTube channel is up. Our first studio tutorial was posted there earlier today. It is up and running, full 1080p. It's kind of a long one, so in the future I'm going to hope to shorten those down a little bit to a more consumable size, but we did a studio tutorial on how to paint Dark Angels to a tournament level. So here's our Primaris Lieutenant. That is the model that we painted in the studio tutorial. Really nice, clean Dark Angel at a simple and easy tournament level. Some cool airbrush fades on there. Hopefully it was easy enough so that people can replicate it without having too much trouble. You go over there, check it out. Subscribe to the channel because starting tonight, I'm going to be taking our tutorial theme streams like this one, so like how to paint X kind of streams. I'm going to be uploading those to the YouTube channel so they can stay there for reference, because Twitch deletes the stream videos after a certain amount of time. So this one will go up tomorrow. Wednesday will probably go up for the painting of the Deathwing stuff. And then I'm going to start working on our next studio tutorial next week. I don't know what we're going to do yet. It might be Mordians. It might be another flavor of Space Marines. We'll have to see what I can do on short notice. Try to keep those videos coming out at a relatively regular pace. I don't think I'm going to be anywhere like one a week just yet. I've got to kind of work out the kinks of the process and kind of streamline it, but hopefully I can get one out within the next couple of weeks. And like I said, the streams are going to go up there, so you'll be able to watch the streams again without worrying if they get deleted. So make sure you check that out. I think that's about it. I think that is about it. So let me retype our host command. Like we normally do on Saturdays, I'm going to throw a host over to Keylime, see what he's up to. I think he's working on his Armies on Parade stuff again. Like normal, wait for the host to go through, then jump over to his channel, tell him I sent you, spam with those Jack of Clubs emotes, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.